Hello, my name is Alex Isles and welcome to Ingram Valley in Northumberland National Park. And I'm not far away from Ingram Village Hall, which is just on my left hand side here. Now in the surrounding fields, when archaeologists were doing a lot of work in Ingram Valley, they actually noticed through crop markings a square-shaped building, and this seems to either be a Roman structure or a heavily influenced by the Roman structure. And so I'm just going to talk about that today and some of the findings that they had here. In 43 AD, the Romans invade, and when they invade Britain, they slowly make their way up the British Isles because they're drawn into more and more conflicts with the native Britons. So in the 50s, they're focused heavily on Wales in the southwest. In the 60s, they're drawn into a conflict with a tribe to the south of here, which is the tribe called the Brigantes. The Brigantes initially were pro-Roman, but an internal civil war caused the Romans to have to become involved in their politics, and they were then dragged into that war, subjugated the Brigantes, and probably came up to where the Tyne Valley is, near where modern-day Newcastle is. From there, the Romans then had a very ambitious man called Agricola, and Agricola was the governor of Britain, and his son-in-law, Tacticus, or Tacitus, depending if you're a Latin scholar or not, decided to write a biography of his father-in-law and how his father-in-law was pulled into more and more conflicts and then started conquering all of northern Britain. Now, as he went in, or attempted to conquer all of northern Britain, so he pushed up and he went up into the northeast of Scotland, had very successful campaigns against the native Britons up there, subjugated them, but then due to civil war in other parts of the empire and also revolts, they had to pull troops out of Britain to go and deal with that. And so the Romans went down back between the Tyne and the Solway. When they pulled back down between the Tyne and the Solway, the Romans probably started making friends with the native Britons around here, and in a settlement which is just over in that direction over there, they discovered a coin of a Roman emperor called Domitian, so around about 80 to 90 AD. When they discovered a coin of Domitian, that was actually proof that the Romans were trading with the native settlements, because there was a settlement of roundhouses over there. The natives had a coin, so they were probably being paid by Roman soldiers who were coming up to this location. The tribe in this area is probably either called the Vodadini or the Gogodin. We're not entirely sure which. They're probably exactly the same tribe, but the Romans probably Latinized it, whereas the Gogodin is probably an Anglicization, where the Anglo-Saxons have taken the Celtic name and turned it into something that's easy for their mouth to say, and in the same way the Romans took the name that they heard the natives calling themselves and made it into something that they could say. So you've got Vodadini and Gogodin. So it's probably a mixture of the both, and you'll get close to the original Celtic name for the people who lived in and around this area. I use Celtic in inverted commas, by the way. I much prefer the term native Briton. So in and around this area, the native Britons are living, and the Romans have done a massive campaign into Scotland, or what is now modern day Scotland. They've done that, they've subjugated the tribes up there, they've taken booty and slaves, they've come back down after the conflict, and when they've come back down, they still want to be friends with the Vodadini. So the Romans would have a system of setting up client kings or client chieftains. They would give gifts to certain chieftains in the area and turn them into more of like a local king who would be allied with them. And then when they did that, that local king would in turn pay a sort of tax to the Romans to secure this constant flow of Roman goods, Roman lifestyle to them, which would then give them prestige over the other people in their nation. So in the same way, what's going on here is the local people are supplying food back down to the Romans, and we know this because the square-shaped enclosure that they have here, which was excavated in the fields around here, how it looks. There are two ditches with a 5-meter gap between them, and then you have the inner square area in between. At some point, the inner ditch was filled in, but the outer ditch had stones, nice flat stones taken from the local river, placed on the inside bank of the ditch. Now what seems to be going on here is that on the inside of the area was then cobbled, and so it was then used as an area, and what they've discovered is they've discovered chaff, which is obviously the waste product from actually sifting through the wheat and the barley to have good grain. So the locals were probably bringing their wheat and their grain off the hillsides down to this processing plant, it was being sifted and then it was being handed over, or it was being regulated by the Romans in some way. So the Romans were regulating the food supply and probably taking a tax from it from the local leaders. And when they were taking that food tax, they were probably then taking it back down to a location like Hadrian's Wall, because the depot that's around here has been dated to just after Hadrian's Wall has been constructed. So what you have here is a Roman tax site where the Romans are actually centralizing the production of food in these valleys, and when they're centralizing the food production, they're then taking their share of that food, they're using it to feed their own armies, and they're showing control over the local chieftains. But in turn, the local chieftains get all the benefits of the Roman friendship, and this area here stays peaceful, so there isn't war with the Romans. So it's all about making sure that the Roman provinces can become wealthy, the Romans can benefit from that wealth, and ensure there's peace, or the Pax Romana, that peace which ensured prosperity but was always there backed up by the show of force that the Romans could do. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and that you've learned something about how the Romans maintained this landscape around here, which seems very wild and very uncivilized by what we consider the Romans today, when we think of, you know, their great stone-built cities and things like that. But this area here was just as much influenced by the might of Rome as many of the other parts of Britain as well, just in a very different way, as Roman culture came in and influenced the local chieftains and had an effect on how everyone was living their daily lives. If you have enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe, share the video with your friends, and if you would like to, please do support me on Patreon, where you can help steer some of the content that I will produce in the future. Until next time though, stay safe and well, and I look forward to sharing more history with you in the future.